Hello, and thanks for joining me for week 30 update of our Thai house build here in Tat Phnom, Thailand. As you can see, it's a nice sunny day, blue sky everywhere. It's been like that for a week now. Good for building. So this week we managed to achieve almost final tiling. The tiler's done everything pretty well except working on the stairs of the porch. He's going away for 3 days, so he won't be back until Thursday next week. We had the house railings installed this week. Railing contractor was here, got those in. Makes the look of the house much better. Keeps old guys like me from falling off the porch. They got to come back once the stair tiling's done to put in the hand railings up the stairs and the gates, the sliding gates that close off the porch. Painters were here. Put on the final coat on the inside of the house. You need to be back next week for a few days for the outside second coat. The septic system and wastewater systems, the tanks were installed this week. The plumbing and piping has to be hooked up, which will probably be next week. And a few other bits and pieces happened this week. It's not as With the house construction done, now it's all finishing work. It tends to go a bit slower than the construction, so not as exciting perhaps, but just the progress shows you what happens on a week-by-week basis building a house in Thailand. So I look forward to sharing this week's information, so come along with me and see what happened. Cheers. The tiler was busy again this week. He started with the utility room where there's a toilet and laundry. Got the first row in level and then worked his way up and around the three walls, as you can see here. We're only tiling the end piece of the room where the toilet, the sink, and the washing machine will be. And we had some leftover brown tiles, so we put it on the top, as you can see here. Then it was onto the floor. We decided to use the leftover brown tile from the porch in here. It wasn't enough kitchen tile, so instead of buying more of that, use what we had. Actually, I think it looks better in here. Just the plain tile in this kind of storage room, utility room. Put down his mortar first, and then the tile on top of the tile glue. He worked his way through and finished up, so it took him probably till middle of the week or so. Then he got on to the bathroom shower divider walls. Here he's got the bricks all done. And then into the master bathroom to start on the glass bricks that'll go up above the clay bricks on the bottom. So you get light through into the bathroom. You can see out. So put a row of his tile glue mortar on the bricks. He's put a rebar into the wall along the underneath this mortar to keep it solid, and then lays out his first brick and subsequently the second brick. So this first row is a bit finicky because it's getting established, the baseline. So they're all 5 along, so it's 5 wide and 5 high. The wall, the glass wall. In the shower, so he gets it all lined up with the wall, the mark he's got on the wall that he used to make sure it's straight to go up. And then he's happy with that. Started on the second row. He's got his string line out to make sure the tiles are level. We're up 4 levels here, and then that's the 5th and final level. It's got the eyebrow edging all around, and he's finished off the facing of the counter as well. So there you can see it. All done. Really happy with that. Then he started later in the week on the stairs to the porch. We had to leave it until the railing contractor was in, and he's put in the rails for the sliding gates, so he can now tile. And he's putting in the steps and cutting the pieces to go around the railing, or the rail that's in the ground. So the Porch installer supplier was here, brought his metal railings. He'd measured them all previously, so they were made off-site and then brought in and just need to be fitted. You know, any final last adjustments. So here he's got it up, just checking out whether it's going to fit properly and correctly. Finds out that it needs to have a little bit shaved off the end, so down it comes, and using his grinding wheel, he's just shaving off a bit of the end so it can fit neatly into that space between the two columns. So it's adds a lot of value, I think, these railings. They look really fantastic. And then once he's happy with the fit, he drills out holes, 2 holes in each column, and then I think there's 3 or 4 holes in the floor where they install metal plugs. So they're pouring water in the drill so it doesn't get too hot and crack. Then our Tyler came out and he's got a special drill for doing that stuff, so that really helped them get things done. So there you can see the piece of metal in the column and on the floor. It's like a bolt fastened in, and then they do the welding. So they weld the railing to this bolts. So that's how it's secured in place. So just a little bit more welding as they secure the railing to the pieces that are embedded in the column. So I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 securing points. So you can see what it looks like up close here when it's welded. And then there's a bracket that goes over that at the end so you don't see the welds. They need to bring a larger bracket for the top piece yet. And that's just a downward view looking at the structure of the railing, because a nice wide handpiece. This is the paint, Rust Tech 2-in-1. It's a matte finish. A little explanation a bit about it. And just a view of the railings, or the rails that go in to the floor for the gates that'll be installed probably in the next week or so. And this bit of the finished look of the railings against the house from the balcony. Happy with those, they look good. One was just a simple railing, nothing fancy, and pleased with the result. So then the next thing this week was the installation of the septic and the wastewater systems. So these are the pits that were dug last week for the septic tank and the soak-away rings. Second set, so there's 2 sets of systems just for the location of the house. This is the 2 tanks that'll go into the ground, 1,000 liters. Well, there's 4 delivered, 2 are for us and 2 are for other houses. So they're 1,000 kilos, hold about a ton. Just some more information about the tanks themselves. And then the water tank that'll go in is a 2,000 liter tank. These are the soak-away rings that were delivered last week. These need to go into the ground. So the team were there on Monday and prepared the concrete to go into formwork. So here the fellas just putting the formwork together in the hole. So just for the septic tanks, they pour concrete pad, or lean as they call it, concrete lean, to sit the tank on so it won't shift. And then it's backfilled with dirt. There's the formwork. And they, prepared the rebar to go into the formwork to pour the concrete around to make it more stable and secure. So it was all ready, so in goes the concrete. And this is a hand mixed arrangement because there's not all that much of it. And just pail it down into the formwork that's at the bottom of the pit, as you saw earlier. So it doesn't take too long to fill up. And then it's all set and cured overnight. Then the next day they're back to put the septic tank into the ground, set it on top of the concrete pad. Well, they look a bit large. They're lightweight, but obviously big and cumbersome to handle, but very lightweight themselves when they're empty. Obviously they weigh a ton when they're full. So he's just struggling to get it into position while these two mates watching. No point helping. And then all of a sudden, that tank looks very low. I think we've got a bit of a problem. The drain pipe from the toilet sits well above where the tank sits, and while it's good to have drainage, this is doesn't line up right. So we just shovel that around, see what that does. But all of a sudden, now what do? The pipes doesn't match up with the tank. But not to worry, they've been around for a while, so problem solved. They pour a taller concrete pad, and then voila, the tank matches up, no problem. So now they can install the pipe into the tank, as you see here. Always an answer to a problem. This is the main bathroom system. That was at the right height. They had dug the pit for the other tank too deep, is what happened. So, but in here they're just shuffling that into place again, so they can get the collar that attaches to the tank and the pipe secured. So, a close-up view, that's what it looks like. Blue pipe, and then a rubber type collar. And then that's gravel that'll fill the soakaways. So then we had the water pipes. So they were put in, last video explained the water pipes that were put in around the sidewalk to feed the house. The blue pipe, that's what's being used, around 1/2-inch PVC 13.5. We've got an issue because it won't hold pressure. When they pressurize the system, pressure drops. And then, lo and behold, the pipes are blowing out because the guy that installed this forgot to glue 4 pipe places. So he glued one side, not the other, but the problem was solved. Just re-glue the pipes that they should have been in the first place, and they're 10 bars of pressure and it holds. So that was the end of a troubling day. Next day, we had tractor on site. I think this was Thursday. We had that kind of temporary green fabric fence up around the front and side of the build site, but time for it to come down. I mean, it was half fallen down anyway, and the weeds were overgrowing it, but we need to put a fence in. So got a fencing contractor coming to talk to us. We've had one in, but we're having another one in for another quote. So we want a tractor in to just tidy up the property lines so that easy for the fencing contractor to see the lines and where everything has to go for measurement and obviously for working, installing it in due course. So this is a tractor driver that we had before, and he does really good work. We'll get him back at the very end just to finally sculpt all the whole yard when everything is removed, make it ready for landscaping. And there's at the back of the house, we got about 16 trucks of soil into a little bit, fill in at the front, fill in at the back. Then it was time for the painters, so they arrived to start the final coat. So sanding some of the areas to be painted. There's a team of 6, so 3 were working inside doing the final paint of the rooms internal to the house. So the guy on the roller doing the walls, And 2 other guys doing the trim, the ceiling against the floor and around the window. Just sanding the lower part of the trim and be covered by a skirt board. And then there was 3 others that were doing skim coating the kitchen. Now the tiling's done, they could do the skim coat all around the open walls that weren't tiled, get them ready for painting. So the boys just getting rid of any rough cement. So the skim coat makes the walls really, really smooth and makes them nice when they're painted. So here he's applying his skim coat. It's like a paste, has it on his trowel, and then uses a scraper to just spread it very thinly. There's usually 2 coats, and they're going around the house just filling any render cracks with skim coat as well. So there's with the skim coat on. It's a lot brighter in the kitchen and a lot brighter in the utility room. Happy with that. And then we've got some porch skirt boards. So when it was tiled, of course the tiles are square and the walls are rendered, and the render isn't always 100% even. So, you know, there was small gaps and bigger gaps. So wanted just a cement board put along the edge so it hides the gap between the tile and the walls. Instead of using grout, it'll be painted the same color as the house, so it looks a lot tidier, lot neater, and it looks finished to me. These are the curtain people. They were back, finalized our arrangements, sorted out the curtain rods and what'll be installed, the lengths of those, and just reconfirmed the curtains. And here he's just looking on the back porch because we want to put a blind, because it gets very bright with the west afternoon sun shining in. So from about 3 o'clock till 4:30 it can be a bit bright in the back. So we're going to install these black roll-up blinds. So that's it for this week for happenings. Just a view around the house as it stands. Land sculpted, the railings in, the paint looking good. Happy with that. This week we also took a separate trip to Nakhon Phanom so I could go to Thai immigration to do some of mandatory immigration matters. So just some shots of the nice views from Nakhon Phanom. Had lunch, overlooked the Mekong, and that's it for this week. Look forward to sharing more next week for week 31.